The Gravedigger. Written and narrated by myself, Justin J. White. It's a hot, sunny day in the mean streets of London. The laughter from the kids sing in the streets, while the words in their voices sound like a melody to the ears. But what could possibly go wrong in a town that's full of life and adventures? Who knows? But he who dares to seek will find what lies beneath the unknown. Over this Victorian house that sits in the heart of East London, the tree looms out to the side, the branches bend like a crooked witch in the night sky. And the house sleeps while everyone's out, the window pane, distinct, etched so deep like the nails of a bear swiped for a streak. The hustle and bustle of this city is no match for a rural or small town. The city never sleeps, and the night's full of creeps. But when the time comes, the sun goes down, the voices dim, then the last bit of light dies out from the town. The house comes alive while everyone sleeps. This is the only home on this road that wakes every day of the night. Welcome to the dingy dungeon of Forest Gates 3. It's 3 in the early morning, and Biz Bowden enters the graveyard gates. He checks his surroundings, then locks it with a big rusty chain. He's a man with tough hands that walks with a hunch in his back. Although his face conveys a sense of excitement, it's a paradox whenever this guy gets out of his box. He loves his work though. It's the only thing that gets him out of his bed on a wintry night. And although he has a knack for heading out in the chilly weather, sometimes there's a scream in the distance of a graveyard that he always likes to ignore. He heads towards the church in the middle of a cemetery. His knuckles sit tight around his favourite glass bottle that's always in his man bag. He takes 2 swigs of his drink from it. Its bitter taste sets his throat on fire. There's always a voice that pops into his head. Hi. Though he seems unbothered most of the time. But this time, it's divergent. Dig another day, dig another corpse, he mumbles to himself. He stops and studies his reflection in the mirror of the church. Something dark and mysterious wavers beside him, but he shrugs it off. The glint in his eyes is strange, though his beard drops with a sight of wisdom. The man walks with a limp of a zombie, and his clothes just stink of an alky. The darkness begins to swallow his figure as the bottom of his feet drag along the lonesome path. Tombstones are all around him. However, from whatever he can see, some are weathered back to basics with no writing on them. Others have fresh flowers and newly turned earth. One particular tombstone stands out, that of a middle-aged lady with ginger hair. Her name's non-existent, but a lonely rose lays on top of her grave. As he inches closer to this tombstone, he picks up the spade from the ground and laments for a while clutching the spade like someone who doesn't want to let go of a love of their life. Something's wrong with him. But sometimes, just sometimes, you just have to let a man cry. You brave, dead delusion of a man, a woman's voice says softly in this airy atmosphere. He quickly spins around to feel the wind brush against his face. Who's there? He replies, but the only thing that speaks is the silence of the night. He peers at the alcohol bottle in his hand that glints underneath a tree, as if it's the dark brown liquid playing tricks on his mind. Then he shrugs. Maybe it's just a glitch in the matrix, or maybe it's the terror in the night. His warm breath turns to a cold mist whenever he breathes. Shudders run through his body from time to time, and he sighs at the goosebumps when he rolls up his sleeves. Sod it! He swiftly stops lamenting, looking at the tombstone in disgust. He raises the spade into the air, driving it into the ground, and pounding at the dirt with every inch of aggression. What a shame for a man who gets hot-headed so quick. He digs. The voice in his ears, slow and slick. He digs faster and harder. It's like something is giving him the ick. He comes to an abrupt stop. His eyes begin to crinkle. Most of the dirt has been digged and scooped to the side. From his peripheral, something catches his eyes. Or is he surprised by the void that lies 6 foot below his feet? Whispers in his ears. He waggles his head in disbelief. This can't be, he says. The skin, the bones, where have they gone? Not long ago, I buried them right here. He glances around on edge, paranoid that his colleagues have been watching him and removed the body from the site. They might snitch, he thinks to himself. But who cares? He has a great alibi. Surely someone will vouch for him. Surely someone's on his side. A cold breeze enters his ears. It's me, Lilith Hayes. Your scorn for me is profound. How dare you lose sight of this night, you useless monster. He stammers, choking on every word he wants to spit out. He looks at all the other tombstones around him, confused, thinking if he buried Lilith somewhere else. Afterwards, he lifts his arms high and throws the spade onto the floor. You right, rotten piece of... The voice sounds even closer. He spins around to see a woman behind him in the distance and peers. His mouth widens. His eyes protrude as if he's seen his death before his eyes. Wet streaks of hair cover her wrinkled cheeks. Lilith, he emits in a gentle tone. How is this possible? And drops to his knee. She glares at him without a word. His eyes so wary, his demeanor so fragile. He trembles like a small child, and then he begins to weep. Stand up, you wimp. Her voice echoes. He quivers at the knee. But he doesn't stand. He just slowly waggles his head to the side. This was never meant to be, he cries. In this clear, cold ambience, right behind him, the spade rises into the air. It pulls back like someone's ready to swing a baseball bat. Whack! She strikes him in the face, and his body falls limp into the 6-foot grave. I guess his time has come. There's no more nights to save of the graveyard shifts. What a shame. Biz Bowden, I'm sure he's better off dead than living in these dark nights.